Custody doesn't necessarily mean arrest, as we heard. Custody is when one is in a position where they believe that they are not free to leave. And, we've seen this over and over again, where our children are approached by a law enforcement officer and they're held in custody. And very often, they are young, 16 and 17-year-olds. They don't know their rights. They are spontaneously uttering anything, even if they're innocent. And we know that we had passed raise the age, where 16 and 17-year-olds were being charged maliciously of crimes that were nonviolent, and they were being charged as adults. We were one of the last two states that finally passed raise the age. And because of what's happening, where many children are waiving their Fifth Amendment rights, their Miranda rights, you still see a high number of children, especially in vulnerable communities, minority communities, are incriminated because of excited utterance, spontaneous utterance. They don't have the knowing factor, the intelligent factor, and the voluntary factor. They're just saying anything. So this bill that my colleague has is to protect them. It's to make sure that there's a parent, an attorney, or someone who's going to protect them. Because those very statements that are made or uttered out of their mouths can be used against them. Incriminating statements. And if you come before a jury, guess what? Evidence is admitted. This is admissible because it was excited utterance. And then you have a jury who's going to use that evidence, and it's going to be very prejudicial. This bill is going to keep our kids safe by notifying the adult in their life what has happened and reduce unnecessary trauma for that said child by not taking them directly to the station house and instead wait to see if it's needed to take them to a more appropriate location, or just take them back home if they don't need to be questioned. This will keep our kids informed of their rights by making them be in contact with an attorney before they are questioned. It reduces the risk of them unknowingly waiving their Miranda rights and the rights to remain silent. My colleagues on both sides of the aisle always talk about how they want to do better for our children and our communities. Our children are not murderers. They're not rapists. They're not all those bad things. And again, very often when Black and brown kids are approached by law enforcement officers and they're innocent, anything can be said. And next thing you know, they're arrested, and they're in custody, and they're in jail. This bill will directly add new safeguards to protect children while they are in one of the most vulnerable moments. And for this, Madam Speaker, I thank my colleague for doing this. This is very important. I think we should do this for adults as well, in many cases, because adults, very often are waiving their rights. So I want to thank my colleague for this bill, and I will be voting in the affirmative.